Judith is another excellent book. Comes right after Tobit in the version of the Bible that I'm reading from. It's written kind of in the same way. It kind of has the same feel to it. Judith is more historical. It seems like you would be reading a chapter or a section in a history book. It does have a lot of personal nuance in it. Not as much as Tobit, because there's a lot of historical events going on in the book of Judith. Judith is an intense example of faith and reverence for God, and also fear of the Lord. There is a great part in this book where it's managing the quid pro quo situation that was brought up by the leader of the town, Bethulia, and he apparently is a priest as well, and he set up a situation that tested God, and Judith called him out on that. There's also a lot of fear of the Lord sort of thing there, where that is the beginning of wisdom. And you see Judith as someone who is materially wealthy and also spiritually wealthy. So she has a lot of loss and things to manage in her life, but she still comes out fearing God and revering him and honoring him and making sure that everyone realizes that God is the one that's going to help the city through the situation that they're in. It's also a story of courage, and it's a story of faith. It's just an incredible book with a lot of twists and turns, with an amazing ending. She is the subject of many paintings and many other stories. If you look back at the history of Judith as far as how she was honored from the years past in art and literature, she is a woman of courage and an example to everyone, and someone that really did very little to honor herself, but she had no problem being that example and being the honorable person to not only her town, but to all of Israel and the world. It's just an amazing story about also how large entities, just not a spoiler here, but there was a situation where a huge army was set against Judith and her town, and they were the stronghold that would decide how things would go for her region, and how God used this person to turn the tide and to succeed overwhelmingly against overwhelming odds. Great read, great story. Again, just kind of thinking about the book of Tobit and how it's written kind of the same way, with a lot of great intercession in different ways, and how and why this book was taken out of the Bible. Just a very great question. Read it to yourself and others. I always recommend that. Discuss it with other people. It's kind of why I'm doing all this, is to make sure that I'm not the one doing the talking, but you're the one doing the talking to God about what you've read. And I'm inspiring you to search this book out. You will not be sorry, and I hope that you enjoy it as much as I do.